Do you ever notice a deep, unshakable peace within you, even when life seems to be falling apart around you? This is one of the clearest signs that you carry God's presence. It's not just an ordinary calm that comes and goes, it's a profound sense of tranquility that remains steadfast, no matter the circumstances. Imagine standing in the middle of a storm, with the wind howling and the rain pouring down, yet inside, you feel a quiet stillness. This is the peace that comes from God. It's a peace that surpasses all understanding, something that doesn't make sense to those who observe it from the outside. When you carry God's presence, you're not easily shaken by the troubles of the world. You may face difficulties, losses, and disappointments, but there is something deep within you that holds you steady. This peace acts as an anchor for your soul, keeping you grounded when everything around you is in chaos. It's a peace that whispers to your heart, everything will be okay, even when the situation seems hopeless. This is not something you can manufacture on your own, it's a divine gift that comes from being close to God. When you experience this kind of peace, it's a sign that you are carrying something sacred, something powerful within you. Have you ever made a decision that seemed to defy logic, yet it turned out to be the best choice you could have made? This unexplainable wisdom is another sign that you carry God's presence. It's as if you are being guided by an unseen hand, leading you down paths you would never have chosen on your own. This wisdom is not something that comes from books or education, it's a deep, inner knowing that is connected to a higher source. When you carry God's presence, you often find that you just know what to do, even when the situation is unclear. It's as though a light is shining on your path, showing you the way forward, step by step. This guidance can come in many forms, through a quiet voice in your heart, through dreams, or even through a sudden insight that hits you out of nowhere. This wisdom helps you navigate life's challenges with a sense of confidence and purpose. You may not always understand why you are being led in a certain direction, but you trust that it's for your good. Over time, you begin to see how everything is working together in a beautiful, intricate plan that you couldn't have imagined. This kind of wisdom is a clear indication that you are not walking alone. God is with you, guiding your every step. Have you ever been in a situation where you should have been harmed, but somehow you walked away unscathed? This is a powerful sign that you carry God's presence, and it manifests as divine protection. It's not that you are immune to danger or difficulty, but there is something or someone that steps in at just the right moment to shield you. This protection often appears in ways that are hard to explain. Maybe you missed a flight that later had an emergency, or perhaps you took a different route home and avoided a serious accident. These are not just coincidences, they are signs of God's hand over your life. When you carry God's presence, you are surrounded by a protective barrier that guards you from harm. This doesn't mean that you won't face challenges, but it does mean that you are being watched over and kept safe in ways you might not even realize. Sometimes, this protection comes in the form of a strong intuition, an inner voice telling you to wait, to leave, or to take a different path. Other times, it's a physical intervention that saves you from danger. This protection is a constant reminder that you are precious to God, that your life has purpose, and that you are not alone. Even in the midst of trials, you can rest assured that you are being guarded by a force greater than any challenge you might face. When you carry God's presence, you find yourself naturally drawn to help others, even when there's no benefit to you. This is not out of obligation or a sense of duty, but from a place of genuine love and compassion. It's as if something deep within you compels you to reach out and lift up those who are struggling. This urge to serve is one of the most telling signs that you are connected to God. You begin to see the needs of others with a clarity that you didn't have before. You notice the pain in a stranger's eyes, the weariness in a friend's voice, or the loneliness in a neighbor's demeanor, and you can't just walk away. There is a stirring in your heart that moves you to act, whether it's through a kind word, a helpful gesture, or a quiet prayer. This kind of service is not about seeking recognition or praise. In fact, you often prefer to remain in the background, letting your actions speak for themselves. What drives you is the desire to make a difference, to bring a little more light into someone's life. When you carry God's presence, this desire becomes a natural part of who you are. You serve others not because you have to, but because you want to, because you feel called to. And in doing so, you find that your own heart is filled with joy and peace. Another unmistakable sign that you carry God's presence is the overwhelming love you feel for people, even those who have wronged you. This love is not something you can muster on your own, it flows through you from a higher source. It's a love that goes beyond feelings of affection or fondness. It's a deep, abiding care for the well-being of others, regardless of how they've treated you. When you carry God's presence, you find it easier to forgive, even when forgiveness seems impossible. You realize that holding on to bitterness or resentment only weighs you down, and you begin to let go of these burdens. This doesn't mean you forget what happened or that you excuse the wrongs done to you, but you choose to release the anger and pain associated with them. This kind of love is transformative. It changes the way you see others and the way you interact with the world. You start to see people not as they are in their flaws and failures, but as they could be, through the lens of grace. This love compels you to reach out to those who are hurting, to show kindness to those who seem undeserving, and to extend a hand to those who are struggling. It's a love that doesn't keep score or demand anything in return. When you carry God's presence, this love becomes a defining characteristic of who you are, and it touches everyone you encounter. Carrying God's presence often leads to profound spiritual experiences that leave you feeling deeply connected to the divine. These experiences can come in many forms, through vivid dreams, visions, or moments of intense clarity and understanding. They are not just random occurrences, they are meaningful encounters with the spiritual realm that guide and strengthen you on your journey. When you carry God's presence, you may find yourself waking up from a dream that feels more real than reality, a dream that leaves you with a message or insight that you can't shake. These dreams are often filled with symbols and metaphors that resonate with your soul, offering guidance and reassurance. You may also experience moments where you feel an overwhelming sense of peace or joy, as if you are being enveloped by a warm, loving presence. These moments can happen anywhere, during prayer, while walking in nature, or even in the midst of your daily routine. They are reminders that you are not alone, that you are connected to something much greater than yourself. These spiritual experiences are not always easy to explain to others, and you may even struggle to put them into words, but they leave a lasting impact on your heart and mind. They deepen your faith, strengthen your resolve, and reassure you that you are on the right path. When you carry God's presence, these encounters become a regular part of your life, guiding you and drawing you closer to the divine presence that is always with you. One of the most powerful signs that you carry God's presence is the way others are drawn to you, often without understanding why. It's as if there's a light within you that shines so brightly, it becomes impossible to ignore. People may come to you for advice, comfort, or just to be in your presence, feeling a sense of peace or inspiration when they are around you. This attraction is not something you seek out, it happens naturally. You might notice that people start opening up to you, sharing their struggles and seeking your wisdom, even if you've just met them. They may not be able to explain it, but they feel safe and understood in your presence. This is because when you carry God's presence, your energy resonates at a higher frequency, and others can sense it, even if they don't consciously recognize what it is. This light within you is a reflection of the divine, and it shines through in your actions, your words, and even your silence. It's a beacon that calls out to those who are lost, hurting, or searching for something more. While this can be a beautiful experience, it can also be challenging, as it requires you to constantly guard and nurture your own spirit. But it's also a sign that you are living in alignment with your true purpose, allowing God's presence to flow through you and touch the lives of those around you. When you carry God's presence, superficial relationships and conversations no longer satisfy you. You crave depth and meaning in all areas of your life, especially in your connections with others. This is another clear sign that you are carrying something divine within you. You find yourself drawn to deep, meaningful conversations that explore the deeper aspects of life, faith, and the human experience. Small talk and trivial matters quickly lose their appeal, and you begin to seek out those who can engage with you on a deeper level. This doesn't mean you become distant or aloof, but rather, you develop a keen sense of discernment, recognizing which relationships nourish your soul and which ones drain it. When you carry God's presence, you start to attract people who are also on a spiritual path, individuals who share your desire for truth and authenticity. These relationships are often profound and transformative, helping you grow and evolve in ways you never imagined. They challenge you, uplift you, and inspire you to become the best version of yourself. This desire for depth is not limited to your relationships, it extends to every part of your life. You seek out books, music, and experiences that feed your soul and deepen your connection with God. You become more intentional about how you spend your time, focusing on activities that bring you closer to your true essence. This call to depth is a sign that you are being guided by a higher power, leading you to live a life that is rich in meaning and purpose. Another sign that you carry God's presence is the development of emotional independence. This doesn't mean that you don't need others or that you are isolated. Rather, it means that you are no longer dependent on external validation or approval to feel whole and complete. You have learned to find your worth and identity in God, rather than in the opinions or acceptance of others. This emotional independence is a result of the deep, inner work you have done in your spiritual journey. You have faced your fears, insecurities, and doubts, and have come to a place where you are secure in who you are and what you are called to do. This doesn't happen overnight. It is the result of a long and often difficult process of self-discovery and spiritual growth. When you carry God's presence, you begin to realize that your value is not determined by your accomplishments, your relationships, or your possessions, but by your connection to the divine. This realization frees you from the need to constantly seek approval or validation from others. You become more confident in your decisions, more grounded in your beliefs, and more at peace with who you are. This emotional independence also allows you to engage in relationships from a place of wholeness rather than neediness. You are able to give freely, without expecting anything in return, because you are not looking for others to complete you. This is a powerful sign of God's presence in your life, as it shows that you are living from a place of inner strength and divine guidance. Finally, one of the most telling signs that you carry God's presence is your ability to be patient in waiting. Whether you are waiting for a breakthrough, a change in circumstances, or the fulfillment of a promise, you have learned to trust in God's timing rather than forcing things to happen on your own. This patience is not born out of passivity or resignation, but out of a deep trust that God is in control and that everything will unfold according to His perfect plan. You have come to understand that some things take time, and that rushing the process can lead to unnecessary stress and disappointment. Instead, you choose to wait with hope and expectation, knowing that what is meant for you will come at the right time. This ability to wait patiently is a reflection of your deep connection with God, as it shows that you are relying on His wisdom and guidance rather than your own understanding. You are willing to let go of your need for control and to surrender your plans to a higher power. This doesn't mean that you don't take action or that you sit back and do nothing. It means that you act with intention and purpose, trusting that God will open the right doors at the right time. This patience in waiting is a sign that you have matured in your faith and that you are walking in step with God's will for your life. As you reflect on these signs, you may begin to see how they have manifested in your own life. Carrying God's presence is not about being perfect or having it all together. It's about being open to the divine and allowing His presence to guide and transform you. Whether it's the deep peace that holds you steady in the storm, the unexplainable wisdom that lights your path, or the divine protection that shields you from harm, these signs are clear indicators that God is with you. They are reminders that you are never alone, that you are deeply loved, and that your life has a purpose that is greater than you can imagine. As you continue on your spiritual journey, may you become even more aware of God's presence in your life, and may you allow that presence to shine through in all that you do. Remember, the signs are there for a reason. They are there to guide you, to reassure you, and to remind you that you are indeed a chosen one, carrying within you the light and love of the divine. Keep seeking, keep growing, and keep trusting that God's presence will continue to lead you on the path of truth, love, and spiritual fulfillment.